The history books tell us that a skinny kid from Brooklyn named Steve Rogers became the first super soldier. But in 1943, Dr. Abraham Erskine was looking for something specific: a survivor. Someone who had already seen the darkness of war and kept moving. In this timeline, he didn't choose the kid with the heart of gold, but rather the Canadian soldier in the holding cell who had been shot 3 times and was already healing. This is the story of a world where James Logan Howlett took the serum, and the result wasn't a symbol of hope, but a weapon of absolute destruction. Dr. Erskine stood in the dimly lit barracks of Camp Lehigh while staring at the man in the cell. James Howlett, known as Logan, wasn't doing push-ups or reading books. He was nursing a cigar and waiting for a court-martial. Colonel Phillips wanted a soldier who followed orders, but Erskine needed a body that could survive the transformation. He saw Logan's wounds closing up, a mutation the world didn't understand yet. Erskine realized that this man's genetic code was the key. If the serum amplified what was already there, they wouldn't just get a peak human, they would get a force of nature. Logan didn't care about flags or patriotism, but he hated bullies and had a score to settle with the Axis powers. He took the offer, not for glory, but for the fight. The procedure on June 22, 1943, looked different this time. When the Vita rays hit Logan's body, the reaction was violent. The Super Soldier Serum was designed to push human evolution forward, but Logan was already a mutant. His healing factor fought the foreign chemical by burning it up and metabolizing it simultaneously. The equipment sparked and shattered. The screaming stopped. When the pod opened, Logan grew taller, while his muscles became dense, like steel cables. The serum had supercharged his mutation. His senses were dialed up to animalistic levels, which allowed him to hear a heartbeat across the room. He didn't look like a Greek statue, but rather a predator, ready to snap. The spy who tried to kill Erskine didn't even make it to the detonator. Logan smelled the gunpowder on him before he even moved. Howard Stark presented the uniform and the shield, but Logan laughed, because he didn't need a frisbee. In the lab, he extended his bone claws, 6 jagged spikes that were now denser than concrete, thanks to the serum's effect on his skeletal density. Stark was horrified, but Colonel Phillips saw the potential. This wasn't a man who needed to block attacks, but one who could take a tank shell and keep walking. Logan rejected the bright blue spandex for a leather jacket and standard fatigues. He wasn't there to sell war bonds or dance with showgirls. The moment he hit the European front, the propaganda machine died. There were no films of Captain America punching Hitler, only rumors among the German ranks of a wolf who couldn't be killed while tearing through battalions in the middle of the night. While the Howling Commandos were a precision surgical team under Steve Rogers, they became a pack of hunters under Logan. Bucky Barnes didn't have to watch Steve's back, but had to run to keep up. The dynamic shifted completely. Logan's tactical approach was simple, because he acted as the distraction. He would walk into the front door of a Hydra base, soaking up gunfire and healing instantly, drawing every enemy eye. Meanwhile, Bucky, Dum-Dum Dugan, and the others would dismantle the base from the inside. The casualty rate for the Commandos dropped to 0 because Logan took every hit. The violence was terrifying. They didn't capture high-ranking Hydra officers for interrogation, since Logan's interrogation technique never involved asking nicely. Hydra began to fear the night in a way they never had before. Exploring these timelines is impossible without your support. If you want to see more what-if scenarios, click that subscribe button and let us know in the comments which character we should change next. Returning now to 1945, the mission to capture Arnim Zola on the Snowy Mountain train is a tragedy in our timeline, where Bucky falls. However, Logan smelled the trap a mile away in this reality. His enhanced hearing picked up the hum of the prototype energy weapon, charging up before the door even opened. When the blast came, Logan didn't shout a warning, but tackled Bucky out of the way, taking the full force of the energy beam himself. It burned a hole through his chest, but as Bucky watched in horror, the tissue was already knitting itself back together. There was no fall from the train and no Winter Soldier program. Zola was captured, terrified by the man who treated a death ray like a minor inconvenience. This single moment changed the next 70 years of history. Red Skull wasn't fighting a man who believed in fair play. When Logan boarded the Valkyrie bomber, there was no speech about the future of humanity. Skull tried to use the Tesseract's power, but Logan was faster than human reaction time allowed. He didn't aim for the weapon, but for the hand holding it. The Tesseract fell to the floor of the plane, burning through the hull and dropping into the ocean. Alone. Red Skull tried to escape, yet you don't escape a predator in a locked metal tube. The fight was short. Then came the crash. Unlike Steve, Logan didn't know how to fly. He jammed the controls to force a water landing, but the impact was catastrophic. The Valkyrie slammed into the Arctic shelf and buried Logan under tons of ice and twisted steel. Biology changes everything at this stage. Steve Rogers froze and went into suspended animation. Logan's body, however, refused to shut down. Trapped in the dark and crushed by the fuselage, his healing factor kept him alive, while the extreme cold slowed his metabolism to a crawl. He didn't sleep for 70 years, but went into a feral hibernation. His mind retreated into the animal instincts to cope with the isolation. He remained semi-conscious and dreaming of wars past and future. While the world moved on, the Wolf of World War II became a ghost story. The search parties eventually stopped. Howard Stark found the Tesseract, but he never found the plane. Logan waited in the cold as a living weapon stored in the Earth's refrigerator. Oil exploration in the Arctic in 1974 hit something hard. It wasn't S.H.I.E.L.D. who found him, but a private military contractor connected to the Weapon X program. They pulled the block of ice, expecting a corpse, and found a heart still beating once every minute. When they thawed him out, Logan woke up screaming. He wasn't the soldier anymore. He was a wild animal. General Stryker saw an opportunity. They had the ultimate subject, a super soldier with a healing factor. They didn't need to give him the serum since he already had it. They moved straight to the upgrade. They bonded adamantium to his skeleton while he was still disoriented. This time, the metal bonded perfectly with the serum-enhanced bones, making him virtually indestructible. For 20 years, Logan served as the Winter Soldier of this timeline, though far worse. They wiped his memory, suppressing the man who fought alongside Bucky. He became Weapon Omega. Assassinations, regime changes, and tactical strikes were his daily reality. Because he had the Super Soldier Serum, he was faster and stronger than the canon Wolverine. He possessed claws, along with the tactical mind of a general, buried under the programming. He was a phantom. However, the serum's enhancement of his mind meant the programming was always cracking. The good man Erskine saw was still fighting to get out. It took a mission in the 1990s where he ran into an old man with a metal arm named Bucky Barnes, who had spent decades hunting for his friend to finally break the conditioning. The tables turned. In the original timeline, Steve saved Bucky, but here, an aged Bucky Barnes, who had served as a high-ranking S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, saved Logan. The deprogramming was brutal. Logan's healing factor fought the memory wipes, so when the dam broke, 80 years of memories flooded back in an instant. The pain was immeasurable, but Logan stood up. He remembered Erskine. He remembered the train. He looked at Bucky, now gray-haired and weary, and simply said that he got old. The two of them went rogue and dismantled the Weapon X program, facility by facility. By the time Nick Fury took over S.H.I.E.L.D., the Wolf wasn't just a legend, but a loose cannon that no government could control. When Loki arrived in 2012, Fury didn't have to thaw anyone out. He had to find Logan in a dive bar in Madripoor. This Captain America didn't carry a shield and didn't watch his language. He was cynical, tired, and incredibly dangerous. When the Chitauri invaded New York, the battle plan changed. Steve Rogers focused on containment and saving civilians. Logan focused on eradication. He led the Avengers with a brutality that shocked Tony Stark. He didn't merely hold the line, but leaped onto the Leviathans and carved them open from the inside. There was no "Avengers Assemble" shout, only a growl and the sound of claws popping. The world saw a hero who didn't wave to the cameras, but who got the job done, faster than anyone else. The Sokovia Accords were dead on arrival. When Secretary Ross presented the book to the Avengers, Logan didn't read it. He lit a cigar with it. Having been a government weapon for 20 years, he refused to sign any paper that put a collar on him or his team. Unlike Steve, Logan didn't negotiate, but threatened. His presence was so intimidating that the government backs down. No airport battle occurred because nobody wanted to fight a super soldier with indestructible claws who had beaten the Hulk in a sparring match. Tony Stark, respecting Logan's history as a weapon, sided with him. The Avengers stayed united while operating as an independent cell. Zemo's plan to tear them apart failed because Logan sniffed out the deception immediately. In Wakanda, the Outriders didn't stand a chance. The real change happened when Thanos stepped through the portal. Steve Rogers held Thanos back for a few seconds with pure grit. Logan, however, was a different animal. Super soldier strength, combined with adamantium claws, meant he could actually hurt the Titan. When Thanos reached for Vision, Logan was the one standing in his way. He took a punch that would have shattered a moon and got back up. He moved faster than Thanos could track, slicing tendons and armor. He didn't aim for the chest like Thor, but went for the arm with the gauntlet. It wasn't enough to kill Thanos alone, but it bought Thor that one extra second to land the axe. The snap never happened. The world was saved, but it was a harder, grittier place. Logan never took the name Captain America and remained just Logan, or the Captain. The shield stayed in a museum as a symbol of the man who wasn't chosen. Bucky Barnes eventually passed away from old age, happy and free, sitting on a porch with his best friend. Logan, looking the same as he did in 1945, realized his war was never going to end. He was the eternal soldier and the guardian who would outlive everyone he protected. Erskine's serum had worked perfectly by creating a protector who could endure anything. As Logan walked away into the sunset, he knew the truth, that the serum didn't make him a hero. It just gave him more time to do what he did best. In this universe, the symbol of freedom wasn't a shield, but a set of claws. Logan proved that you don't need to be a perfect man to be a perfect soldier, since sometimes you just need to be the one who refuses to stay down. The world was safer, but it lost the innocence that Steve Rogers represented. This timeline was forged in blood rather than hope. Thank you for exploring this twisted reality with us, as we found this idea in the comment section of our last video. If you want to see more alternate histories, please subscribe and ring the bell so we can see you in the next one.